Okay, I'm going to officially call the meeting to order, and can everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Item number 3 is to consider and act upon the minutes of August 16th, 2021 and August 30, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our next item 4 is, excuse me, an appointment to hear, consider, and act upon the following appointment to the Sustainable Fairfield Task Force, Douglas Price of Willowbrook Road, and there are no term lengths or limits. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Nance? Nance, you might be on mute.
Nancy, are you there?
It looks like she lost her audio.
Oh.
I think you can second it.
Can I?
Yeah.
Jim? You're on mute, Jim. Yes?
Yes. Tom made the motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, second then. All right. Well, welcome, Doug. I believe you're on. Yes, I see you. Thank you for signing on, and thank you for agreeing to be on the task force. I think the task force has been really helpful to our community in numerous ways, and most notably recently helping to put together a comprehensive list for consideration for the American Recovery Plan money that we are going to be voting on this month. And they put together a priority list, and their top item was electric cars, and it is an item that did make the list. So they have been really integral and helpful to not just my administration, but to the community at large. So I really want to thank you for stepping up to serve.
I want to echo Brenda's comments.
You're on mute, Doug. Sorry.
Doug, before you go, I want to echo Brenda's.
Computer.
Yeah, I want to echo Brenda's comments. The committee's done a lot of work over many, many years in town and held many events and advocated for a lot of things. I'm sure you'll do well with them, and I congratulate you on your appointment.
Are you unmuted, Doug? On the computer, there's a mute, and on the WebEx, actually, there's a mute button.
Okay, there. Can you hear me? I apologize for this.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, the instructions were a bit confusing about calling in versus using computer audio. So, yeah.
It's okay. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
No, just that I'm very happy to be able to participate in the Sustainability Task Force. I've been attending meetings over the past year just to find out what's going on, how I can fit in. I think that I have some experience that could be of particular use in the coming year, particularly related to a greenhouse gas inventory for the town, both city operations and community-wide. So I've also been talking with Bob Wall about the opportunity to promote air source heat pumps for the town, particularly focused on low-income homeowners. So these are things that I think would very much benefit the town. I'm very happy to be able to participate and looking forward to having that chance.
Well, thank you. Sounds like you really are very active already, so that's great. I'm really excited that you're going to be on.
Thank you very much for considering my appointment and approving it. I really appreciate that.
Of course. Dave, do we know if Nancy's
So sorry, I'm back. I was just explaining, I have a work situation, and so I'm gonna have to jump back and forth. So I'm here now. I apologize.
Okay, so we just made a motion and seconded Doug's appointment to the Sustainable Task Force, and Tom and I have already made comments. Did you want to make any?
Just to thank him very much. Thank you, Doug. Your service is tremendous already, and appreciate you, and thank you. And you have obviously my full support.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Doug, and thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Our next item is item number 5. As I say to all people who have been appointed, you're welcome to stay if you're interested, but you're also free to leave. Our next item is Park and Rec Director to hear and consider and authorize the purchasing authority to enter into a proposed contract with BL Companies Connecticut Incorporated to provide a comprehensive analysis of the town's park and excuse me, Fairfield Public Schools playing fields for the creation of a townwide park and recreation 10-year master plan. And then there's an RFP number in the amount not to exceed $439,400, sorry, capital outlay funds. So you'll remember, oh, first of all, do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
So, you know, if you both remember, we discussed this quite a bit during the budget process about putting this together. I mean, we put this in the budget, I'm sorry, and this is just the RFP for that item. We've had a lot of interest in the community. Lots of people have emailed me about all sorts of things, you know, athletic fields, dog parks, you name it. And I think that this is going to be really a beneficial document to help us with our long-term planning needs for recreation. And I'm going to hand it over to Anthony and Gerald.
You're muted, Gerald.
Let me start again. Sorry about that. Well, at least I didn't get 5 pages in. Yeah, so we had an RFP that we issued. We had 5 companies participate. We interviewed. We shortlisted, did interviews, and from that interview process, the committee recommended BL companies, and it was based upon their basically their submission, their competitive fee, and their vast list of similar services that they had performed in similar communities. So I think it's a good choice for this project. The timeline on it is approximately 9 months. So once we give them the authorization to proceed, we'll have it sometime middle of next year. We should get a plan back from them. But we're going to be, they have a series of milestones, and each of those milestones is about 2 to 3 months. So the final product will be at that 9-month milestone.
Anthony, do you have anything you'd like to talk about or present before we open it up? Before I open it up for questions?
No, I think everybody's heard my spiel on master planning plenty of times. I'm just happy to get a very qualified group on board with us. So looking forward to starting this project.
Thank you, Anthony. I'll open it up to the board for any comment or questions. Tom?
Yeah, thank you. The end result of this, I'm assuming, is going to be a report. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And who does that report get presented to? What's the form of the report and who presents it?
It'll go to the Parks and Recreation Commission, and it'll be an extensive report. It'll also have an executive summary. We can request additional meetings to have it presented to the Board of Selectmen or any other board that wants it, or that could also be handled in-house, you know, either by me or the Parks and Rec Commission.
To be given the amount of public attention on this over the last number of months, both as it relates to things with the the Phil Pyle and Gould Manor and that, the Little Leagues, and I guess this is going to cover both the Little Leagues, or rather not the Little Leagues, sorry, the town fields and the school fields. This is going to cover all, right? I would love to hear about it at the Board of Selectmen level, and I don't know whether they might want to hear about it at the Board of Education level either. I won't presume to speak for them, but I would definitely love to hear a presentation on this report back to us when it's complete. And you're nodding in agreement, Mr. Calabrese?
Yep, that could be arranged.
Great. The other item was, when it was written on the agenda, I was a little confused. This is the overall park and recreation plan, correct, and facilities? Because I think it referenced kind of just the fields from what I read, but this is everything, right?
This
Yeah,
is every
so-
facility, yeah, every facility that Parks and
Yeah.
Recreation has under its control, including the Board of Education fields.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Foley. You were going to say.
My apologies. For brevity, I basically put down, I kind of truncated it. But yeah, this was an extensive RFP where they're doing not just the playing fields, but all the parks and playgrounds and the like. Right.
And this also includes, just for clarity, it includes the fields that the schools are ultimately responsible for, correct?
Yes, both towns and the schools.
Okay, and so Mr. Papa George is in agreement with this, correct?
Yes, he
sat
was
on the
invited to participate, yes.
Okay. So 9 months, what was the original budget for this, if you remind me? I know we're right with
I believe it was 150, is that right, Anthony?
That is correct.
So we're a smidge below what the original
Right,
budget
smidge
was.
below, correct.
Okay. And will this plan also give us some projected costs? I mean, not to be held to, but are they going to give us kind of a range of, hey, we say you should do this, and this would be the cost estimates on something like this?
Yes, that was
Yeah, my recollection is yes.
Okay. Is there anything that was specifically excluded from the plan, from the document? They're not going to look at this, or they're not going to look at that?
I can't think of anything. It was,
No, we asked them to include everything. All three of our cemeteries, our two golf courses, our two
Right.
marinas, our 60+ parks, our two high school facilities with the Board of Ed, and every one of our other athletic fields.
I'm glad to hear that the cemeteries are included. Thank you for that.
yeah.
And no, I'm serious, because I think that's been a sore spot that, I know there's been people that have been very concerned over the state of some of our historical monuments there and things. So thank you for that. The other question I have is, this went through, it sounds like you had 5 bids, so this went through the standard bid process, Mr.
Yes.
Foley.
Yes.
And I see, I always ask this, Mr. Baldwin's on the line. Do you have anything concerning with this proposed agreement, Mr. Baldwin?
I will tell you that I just recently reviewed it, and I do have some technical changes that I think should be negotiated. So I would ask you to, when you make the motion to approve, or when you vote on this matter, you stipulate that it's subject to approval by the town attorney, or subject to terms approved by the town attorney.
Okay, before I make the motion to amend the adjustment, can you tell me what technical terms are, just so that I'm aware?
Sure. I want to be sure that the terms and conditions of the standard agreement that they've proposed incorporate by reference the RFP terms and conditions. And there's also language in here which is rather restrictive about what the town can do with the materials that are produced, and I want to have those terms be more reflective of a work for hire agreement, where the town gets the work product and is able to do with it what it wants and what it deems necessary going forward.
Have you already gone back to them, and are you in active discussions with them on these items?
I have initiated that discussion. I have not had a substantive discussion with them about it yet, but I don't anticipate it's going to be a problem.
Okay, so given that, I'll make the motion to amend the item before us to include the language that Mr. Baldwin articulated, which is that this gets approved subject to some. Jim, do you want to give me the specifics?
Subject to terms acceptable or approved by the town attorney.
I will accept that language as my motion to amend the item before us.
There's no more discussion on overall, because the question I have is it enough, technically speaking, to put it off for 2 weeks, or are they really just technicalities, as you say? And so I'm just curious if this motion that's on the table.
Fair point.
Yeah, I don't see, I understand there are time restraints here, and I would submit that maybe going forward, the same stipulation be said with most agreements that come before you, but in this particular case, I don't anticipate there would be a problem, and if there is, then we would come back to the board.
I'll second that motion, and I have no further questions. Tom asked the one about the technicality, so.
Thanks, Nance.
Okay. Before we go to the vote, I just would like to follow up on Tom's comments about coming back to the board. I think it might even be more beneficial, Anthony, once it's, you know, finished and gone through the Park and Rec Commission, who has purview over this, that maybe they and you host a workshop like I did with ARPA, where all the town bodies could, you know, jump in, and it'd be more efficient, obviously. And it would be good to have all the cross-referencing, I think, bodies, you know, weigh in, and then the public would have that one opportunity too, and they wouldn't have to bounce around to all these different meetings. You know, like a workshop to say, here's the document. What do you think about it, kind of thing?
We can do that. Obviously, they're creating this document from all the stakeholder meetings, which
Correct.
will be the different neighborhoods, the different boards, commissions, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we could absolutely do a workshop on it after we have the draft.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes more sense to have everybody go to one instead of having to do it 3 times or different boards and stuff. Okay.
I think we have to vote on my amendment before we vote on the whole thing, right? And just as a reminder.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so all in favor of the amended motion or the amendment?
Aye.
Aye. Nance?
Yep, I.
Okay, so a motion to approve the item as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nance?
Nance.
You're not, yep.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Anthony and Gerald.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Good luck with this
Thank you.
project.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Jim, thank you as well.
You're
The
welcome.
next item is to hear and consider and act upon, to consider and act upon tax refunds as recommended by the tax collector in the amount of $25,716.64. Do you have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on this item?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nance?
I don't think you're hearing me. Yep, I.
I'm sorry. Okay, good. Okay, great. Passes unanimously. I'm just going to share the Sherman Green tree is being lit this month for the Alzheimer's Association, the Connecticut chapter. And the Alzheimer's Association leads the way to end Alzheimer's and all other dementia by accelerating global research and driving risk reduction and early detection. Purple is the association's signature color, combining the calm stability of blue and the passionate energy of red. Purple makes a statement about the association and its supporters, and they are strong and unrelenting in the fight against Alzheimer's disease. So when you go by the green and you see it lit up purple, or if our community does, they'll know why. And I would just like to update that on Saturday, September 11th, our town had various events in remembrance of the 20-year anniversary. We had a really, I think, one of the most moving ceremonies we've had in the 20 years we've been holding them, or 19 years we've been holding them. and it was quite moving for everyone who attended. We had a large group of our community show up, which was really lovely, and elected officials. And there were some really nice speeches and prayers, and it was just it just felt really good to gather together with our community and share the emotion that we all felt on this 20th anniversary. I don't know about any of you, but I felt a bit more emotional about this anniversary than I have in any of the past. So there was a complete video done that I'm going to try to share with our community, and FairTV was there also, so that people who couldn't attend would be able to watch it. On flooding in our town, obviously, since we last met, we had a significant rainstorm, which dumped unprecedented amount of flash flooding rain into our community. And we had flooding in areas where we typically see flooding, and we've had flooding in areas where we don't typically see flooding. So there was widespread flooding throughout the entire town. And so our DPW people were out working really hard. Our first responders were out literally saving people from underpasses and from homes that they were unable to get out of. And it was just real. My heart goes out to people. I went to visit a bunch of areas, and there's really bad damage, and I feel terrible for them, because it's, some of these, especially the Rooster River area, and this just happened several years ago. And again, they were just devastated by this rain, and it really confirmed the reason why we put the phase 1 money in there for the ARPA, because these people have been waiting a very long time for some level of relief. I would just also want to mention, I want to recognize our emergency crews who worked around the clock. They were just phenomenal, as always. And I just wanted to mention that the town is working with the State Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security to seek federal aid for residents and businesses damaged as a result of the storm. And the first step of this process is to determine if a statewide damage reaches the federal threshold under the President's disaster declaration. And it should be noted that that the threshold for uninsured losses is very high, approximately 3.5 million for Fairfield County and 5.5 million statewide. And both thresholds must be met to qualify for the federal aid. Our town's emergency management director and the team have estimated damages and working on the expenses from the town, as well as residential and business damage, and we'll submit those estimates to the state. If the thresholds are met, property and business owners will be contacted with more detailed information. But in the meantime, and I wrote this in my newsletter as well, we were encouraging residents, and quite a few did call in the days after the storm, to document their damage and to make sure they had a lot of good information about that in case we do qualify. And after that, I just want to announce for the public's, I put this in the newsletter, but that we are going to be voting on the ARPA items on Monday, September 20th at the Board of Selectmen. And the Board of Finance has scheduled a vote on September 21st. And the RTM will vote on it Monday, September 27th. And so I did give a presentation to the Board of Finance last week. I did put a link to that in there if people would like to watch it to get information. I know we're getting some late emails in regarding some emails that went out about how we should use the money. There's some miscommunication out there about how we can use money, or people are talking about items that aren't shovel ready or have absolutely no planning attached to them. But I just want to reiterate that my administration has worked many months putting together this list in consultation with our departments, working with the from the capital long range capital plan. Things mostly have been vetted and have actual project and design work already done. And I would like to reiterate that, regardless of what ends up going through for the ARPA funds, that we still have the ability to bond for items that the community does care about. And I have just want to reiterate that because sometimes I know people have a tendency to think this is the only money that Fairfield's going to be spending ever. And just want to open it up if either one of you have any comments or questions. Tom?
Yeah, Brenda, first of all, thank you for the information. As to 9/11, I look forward to watching that ceremony, so I appreciate the tape. I unfortunately was out of town. I was actually in Washington, D.C., and sometimes because we're so New York City centric, we remember everything that happened in New York, but certainly Washington, it was truly an interesting place to be for that remembrance as well. And you know, I'm always been proud of the ceremony that Fairfield does for it. So I look forward to watching that. Secondly, on the flooding, happy to support the Rooster River study and issues that have been going on there. It has been a problem for quite some time. I think we've had some.
It's not a
false
study,
starts.
it's a phase one. I'm sorry.
It's the phase one. It's the work.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I think it is high time we do as much as we can. I was also glad to hear that there's some work going on with Bridgeport because I know this is a situation. It's not as easy as people think, given that there's multiple municipalities involved, and including a very large city. I don't know if you want to say something about that, Brenda.
Right. So yes, I've been partnering I was working with them early on when we were establishing this list, and they have committed to putting in some of their ARPA funding toward on their end. Obviously, they border us, so that will definitely be beneficial. But this is not just as the first phase, you know. And listen, I heard the frustration from our residents. Believe me, a lot of them called, and when I went to visit as well. And I felt bad for them, you know, because this has been going on for 20 years. And this is literally the first amount of money ever to be appropriated toward the Rooster River. And so, and it's significant. It's devastating. These people's homes are devastated. And most of them don't have flood insurance. And if they do, it's very, very expensive. And very few things are covered under it. So it's not an easy thing that people think they can just put it into their insurance. It doesn't work that way. So, you know, we had people's sewers backing up because of this, and you know, it's devastating. And so, sooner the better we get started on this one.
Yeah, and also I just want to echo the commentary on our first responders for the work they did during the storms. And the last item, Bren, I would like to bring up is just we had the unfortunate drowning within the last 36 hours or so, and your heart goes out to the people. And I saw the announcement from the police department regarding water safety. And I just wanted to echo the comments there and extend condolences. It's heart-wrenching anytime you read that somebody lost their lives at one of our public beaches or places. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the chiefs were in contact with me early Saturday morning, giving me updates about this, and yeah, it's very sad that, you know, I don't believe they were actually in the public area. I think they were behind in some private home area, but again, Lake Mohegan is a place that needs to be, you know, people have to exert extreme caution with that waterway because it can be dangerous, and we've had drownings over there over the years. And so yes, my heart goes out to those families as well.
So if I could echo that, I just want to offer sympathy to the family and anyone connected to that man, also the community, and to thank the police department for their work. I know it's got to be heart-wrenching for them as well. And then in terms of the ceremonies around 9/11, I want to thank Alita Ward and the Fairfield Clergy Association for putting together a very moving interfaith service yesterday. Thank you to Michael at the Fairfield Museum for hosting that. It was very moving. I was in Manhattan downtown 20 years ago. It's really gut-wrenching. It brings up so many emotions, and just was really glad for the opportunity to reflect. I lost a friend that day, and so for me it was particularly somber, but happy for the opportunity to reflect and share in community. So Thank you.
Yeah, she did a lovely job at the 9/11 ceremony. One of the things she said, which I stuck with me and has stuck with me throughout the weekend, when she said, when people are in trouble, God sends people. And that she said that over and over during her prayer that day, and it was it's true. God sends people. So tough week for sure. If we have no other items that the board would like to discuss, I am going to ask for a motion to adjourn into executive session for some items.
I'll make the motion to move to executive session.
And Nancy seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Dave, if you could, we're going to have
Okay.
attorney. Oh, wait, hold on. We're going to have attorney Richard Aiken on, so he'll stay on or is on. I don't know.
I see a call-in user that may be Attorney Aiken.
Attorney Baldwin, do you know if he's calling or WebExing in?
I'm calling in. This is Rick Aiken.
Oh, okay. Very good. Okay. So he's
Okay,
the one.
it'll just take me a moment to shut things down here.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to make a motion to come out of executive session.
So I'll second it.
Yes, I second it too.
Okay. Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So as a result of our executive session, I have 3 motions. Or do I have 3 motions, Attorney Baldwin, or do I have 1?
I think technically you have 3.
Okay. So I'm going to make a motion to proceed in accordance with the recommendations of counsel of record and the town attorney on pending litigation. The first item A, Barbara Markellis versus Town of Fairfield. Do I have a motion to approve?
Moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Again, on item, the next item, to proceed in accordance, to make a motion to proceed in accordance with the recommendations of counsel of record and the town attorney in the pending litigation with Cody Reck versus Town of Fairfield.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that passes unanimously. The next item, again, to proceed in accordance with the recommendations of counsel of record and the town attorney to on the pending litigation, Town of Fairfield Employees Retirement Plan and Police Firemen's Retirement Plan versus Floral Corporation.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. If there's no other items, may I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Good night.
If there's